Hello everyone. This is going to be a short update for June. Um, I have been able to work a little bit on the farm scene area, so that's what I'm going to focus on here. I couldn't remember if I had showed or had shown the final update here on this lift out section. I call it my drawer slide area, but I have a path in there now. So it kind of crosses the little wooded area. I'm going to add trees and such to that at some point, but just wanted to show that. Down here is the edge of the pasture for the farm, and I have a split rail fence in there. And right at the end of the path, there's kind of a gate structure. So have that there, just in case some of the farm kids wanted to walk over and watch some trains. They could go through the gate and cross the path um, over to the rail yard. So I've done some ground cover on the pasture area. You can see there's a mixture of yellow and green in there. I don't know if that yellow flower is something that is seen much anywhere else other than Tennessee or maybe in the South. But a lot of our pastures in the spring have sort of a yellowish flower. I don't know if it's buttercups or what they are, but so there's quite a bit of yellow in the pastures here. So that's what I've tried to replicate there. You can see that I have the barn in place along with the silo. The silo used to be blue. I did not like that color, so I repainted it sort of a sage green. Sorry about the movement. And I've got a dumpster there, and you can see some of the ground cover there around the barn is more, like a gravel. All right, so picking up beyond the silo area, so here's the barn. It has a dirt ramp, which I've tried to blend into the surrounding scenery there. It had a bit of red in it, so I've tried to mix that in with the other ground cover around the edge. So I have a pickup truck loaded with bales of hay. I've got some hay in the barn. Built a little structure over there to a little tractor shed. Just kind of scratch built that. I had a piece of roofing left over, which I'll get into in a minute. And I decided, well, let's use some foam board, and then I used some brick detail sheet that I don't know how well that's showing up, but I just wrapped the foam core in those brick sheets to make a little shed. I've got the farmhouse sitting in here. A couple of farmers over there. I've got the woman of the house summoning her husband maybe into lunch. Their car's parked there in the driveway. And here, I don't have much other scenery done. I do have a picket fence around the house and this area here. This is one of these furnace filter trees that I've made. So kind of my first attempt at that, but I'm happy how that turned out. I may have to do a little touch up on the color. You can see these areas here that are really kind of showing through. They're not that pronounced in real life as they are on camera. They're a little bit darker green, but they're showing up pretty bright there. I have a road in here in front of the house, and that is done with Smooth It. So I've also got some stripes on the road. The stripes are decals, actually adhesive strips. I bought a roll of, it's actually model aviation striping. So I've used that on the road rather than trying to paint that on there. It may be a little bit oversized, but good enough for me. Have a few vehicles set in there. I do have back here at the crossing some highways and byways, railroad crossing decals. I had won those in a contest years ago, so it's the first time I've had a chance to use them. So they're in place there. I have built a couple of railroad crossing signs. You can see those. They are mounted on a wooden matchstick. And the railroad crossing lettering itself is printed on cardstock. and just cut out with an X-Acto knife and glued to the top of the board. So this is going to be an unguarded crossing other than the signs and the markings on the road. But anyway, went ahead and did that. I have a huge assortment of railroad signs which are O-scale. And so what I did was when I printed these out, actually I had some other plastic railroad crossing signals, and I measured the size of those, and they're about 3/8 of an inch. You know, the board, the railroad crossing sign is about 3/8 of an inch. So I scaled my signs that I have down when I printed them, and you know, I think they came out pretty well. You can still read the lettering on there. So let me know if anyone is interested in a bunch of railroad signs. You know, it's primarily road signs, so speed limits, you know, do not enter, one way, that kind of thing. There may be some railroad oriented, like yard limit and that type of thing on there. So let me know if you're interested. I'll be happy to email them to you. Just send me a message, you know, or put your email address in the comments, and I'll be happy to send those to you. It's a PDF. I think I've got maybe 3 or 4 pages, so plenty of signs if you're interested in that. So continuing on with the farm, across the road here I have a plowed field, and what I used to get the furrows in here was a piece of cardboard that I soaked, you know, a large side of a box, really. I think it was an Amazon box. It was a thinner piece of cardboard, and soaked that in the bathtub for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, you know, held it down with a weight, and the facing peeled off the corrugated section. So then I just went ahead and laid the corrugated section down and glued it in place, covered it with some dirt, you know, ground foam. And I'm debating whether to plant corn in here or just leave it as is. So haven't made that decision yet. Back here behind that, I have now put in place a road that's going back to my oil and propane facility. This is some corrugated fencing that I have not installed yet. So move that out of the way. I've got a guard shack there with an attendant. This is actually supposed to be over here, so you can kind of get an idea of where that's going. Also an office building with a couple of pickup trucks, a couple of guys sitting around there. Some pallets, forklift, dumpster, you know, things that you might see around an office building. In the back there is where I'm going to have the propane facility. I've got just some houses, some of these background buildings set in place here. They're mounted on foam core. Those are the ones that I showed, I think in the last video, that were kind of bent. But I got those straightened out, and I just have them sitting there. A lot of those buildings have loading docks on there, so what I did is I took some of that corrugated fencing and just stacked it up in front to make it look like they're beyond the edge of this facility here, you know, not really butting right up against it. And what I used, right now the buildings are temporarily in place, and I have some stuff. If I could find it, I would tell you what it is. It's by Lemax. So any of you guys that have like Christmas Village stuff that you might put up at Christmas time, if you've seen the Lemax brand, they make a material called sticky wax. And what I have used that for is just to temporarily adhere these buildings up to my wall. Just put a little dab on each corner and press it up against the wall, and it stays there. It's easily removable, so it doesn't destroy anything that you have it attached to. But you know, just wanted to give this area kind of a little bit of a background. Over here, next to the oil facility, that oil loading platform is something I've just constructed, so that's new. You know, originally I was going to have one track on the left for the oil facility, and then the track on the right was going to be to this kind of a grain storage facility. But I've decided that I kind of need two tracks over in the oil area, one for tank cars and maybe one for LPG cars. You know, LPG on the left, maybe some, you know. Anyway, I wanted two tracks for that facility. What I'm thinking about doing is adding a turnout right here, and then running another siding back down there to serve this facility. I may not end up keeping all of those buildings. I've got, you know, kind of the grain storage facility that there's a couple of silos there, and I have this other building here. You know, those are, I think they're Pola buildings. There's a set of those that, you know, you can buy them individually or in a set. So I may be selling the silos and maybe, you know, the elevator here. I'm not sure yet. This gray thing is my tube that I constructed. So, you know, it turned out pretty well as a silo. It's about 12 inches tall, so maybe a little tall, but I can always cut that down. But I'm pleased with how that turned out. I may paint some stripes on it and such, add a little more detail. But anyway, so this area obviously needs some other ground cover in here yet to cover the cork. But I wanted to wait until I decided on the turnout and the siding as to actually where that was going before I added any more ground cover. This area right here is going to be a little forested area, and I just used the same ground cover. Well, actually, no, I didn't. I'm lying to you. I found this material. It's a self-adhesive sort of a, I don't know, a craft mat, if you will. And it was in about a 1 by 2 foot sheet, I think. I don't know if I've got that laying around here. But anyway, it's very thin. It's about, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch. But it has this ground cover attached to it. And you just peel the backing off and stick it in place. And it worked really well to adhere to my cork. So I'm kind of pleased with that. So I may get some more of that and use it other places. So I think that's about it for the June update. There are some other areas of the layout that I'm going to move to, and I think my process is going to be just continuing on, you know, down the wall here. So kind of instead of jumping around from one area to the next, just kind of working from a sequence from left to right, if you will. So that the ground cover stays a little bit more consistent as I go down. I think that's about it for this update, but I appreciate everyone you know, staying with me and the comments and all of the you know, suggestions that I've gotten. So I appreciate it, everyone, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Talk to you soon. One thing I wanted to add on here was that on the background there I have a photograph of a road continuing off into the distance, and I found that just Googled pictures of country roads, and that's what I got. And you can see kind of along the edges there, the yellow flowers that are in the field. That's kind of what I was talking about regarding the pasture. But so what I was trying to do, the road was sort of a tan, you know, tannish brown, if that makes any sense, with the kind of black speckles in it. And I was trying to match my paint on my asphalt section to that roadway, and I just couldn't get it right. And I thought, well, you know, heck, just paint the asphalt on the layout and then paint the picture with the same paint as the asphalt, and then it's going to match exactly. So anyway, that's not the permanent picture, but it was just a test to see how, you know, how well that was going to work. And from straight on, it looks pretty good. You know, the stripes on that picture may be a bit wider than what I have, but you know, I could probably adjust that as well with some paint. But anyway, just wanted to get that in there. I plan on doing some photo backdrops, but just wanted to test that road theory. So thanks again.